Hello kids from your Uncle Lucifer. I have a bedtime story for children ages 18 to 80. Share it with your inner youngster sometime. Once upon a time, everybody was like your little 5-year-old brother or sister or son or daughter or niece or nephew or grandchild. Yes, just like little Sammy or Susie. They were in grown-up bodies, but they thought like tiny tots. And just like Sammy or Susie, they had imaginary friends that they played with all the livelong day. Lots of times these imaginary friends were associated with animals. Powerful friends were thought of as powerful animals, and cute little friends were thought of as cute little animals. Sometimes it was a warm and fuzzy experience to be like a cute little animal friend. And sometimes it came in handy to be as much like your most powerful imaginary animal friend as you could possibly make believe you were. But you know what? Sometimes as much as you might have tried to pretend to be as powerful as your most powerful imaginary animal friend, it was not always convincing to an animal that was genuinely powerful. In fact, sometimes it could get downright messy. That's why people came to believe the most special imaginary friend you could have was the cleverest of all the animals. Sometimes this friend seemed like a snake, and sometimes this friend seemed like a fox, because snakes and foxes were not very big, but they seemed to get by just fine because they knew how to sneak around. Snakes were especially impressive because the poisonous ones could kill a predator 10 times their own size. Moreover, snakes and foxes also lived under the ground, which seemed a very mysterious thing to the grown-up children of the olden days. Yes, these creatures knew their way around the dark places where the bigger, fiercer animals could not get at them. Now, mostly people go to sleep at night when it is dark, don't they? And whenever you might go to sleep, you shut your eyes, do you not? So it's always dark when you drift off into dreams when your imaginary friends seem the most real to you. And in the dark of that realm, what secrets might be revealed if only you were clever enough to figure it all out. Not only this, but there is something else that goes on between two people when it gets dark and no one else is around. The two people, usually a man and a woman, take off their clothes and touch intimately. YouTube wishes us to be discreet on this subject because there are children and teenagers who do not know what their parents are up to at night when they think no one can hear them in the bedroom. Actually, there are religious YouTubers that we have talked to, adults, who do not seem all that informed about this activity either. But be assured that among reasonably active, well-adjusted mortals with standard hormonal levels, this activity is generally very friendly and often quite pleasurable. What has this to do with snakes? Well, snakes are kind of like a special part of a man's anatomy that he has between his thighs, and a woman has a tiny, hidden, button-like organ that resembles, in miniature, the head of a man's snake, as it were, and, when aroused, becomes just as erect, and thus all the more serpentine. Actually, snakes shed their skins, the same as a man can surgically shed a part of his foreskin for hygienic purposes. In all truth, this practice first got going in a faraway land in a civilization now all but forgotten. You see, in this civilization there had come a time when the cleverest grown-up children were thought of as serpents. And naturally their mysteries came with the same allure that this very friendly and pleasurable nighttime activity evokes in most any robust, unrepressed adult who is not, dead. Now, even though this was all about grown-up children and their imaginary friends and their quaint beliefs about such friends, let me say two things combined to make most any kind of imaginary friend very special indeed. One thing was faith, the power of belief itself, which can be both a potent motivator when it is at all rational, and an incredible result-getter when it is applied effectively. The other thing is far less comprehensible to the Western mindset because it is something far more mysterious than faith. And that is the psychic dimension of individual minds in concert with a vaster collective network of minds, the mass psyche, whose nature and properties and potential are barely guessed at by modern science. Now, the Lucifer series takes a strong interest in Eastern philosophy and its many fascinating symbols. One of those symbols is the serpent, which never got as demonized in Asia as it did in the West and the Middle East. We recommend Kundalini practice, the rising of the serpent fire, which is a discipline that anyone can take a class in. The Lucifer series will not be giving tips on Kundalini because it must be learned from an instructor. We do have Beelzebub technique videos to share what the producer of our shows, Neil Fox, is about in his daily meditations. These are things that anybody can try if they have not already, but one is not really up to speed until one integrates this sort of orientation into one's devotion to Kundalini. The more of this energy one can bring to the mind puzzles that constitute Kabbalah, the more one will be able to attenuate to the kind of precision that was once an adept's birthright. The jigsaw that is Kabbalah is embedded in the original Hebrew biblical Song of Songs in the Hebrew Sefer Yetzirah, as well as any language version of Beelzebub's tales to his grandson and the opening chapters of Hebrew Genesis. Actually, for those who wish to begin with something in English that reads smoothly and is more of what one expects from a reading experience, some of the works of Aleister Crowley offer a playful warm-up to the workout involved in deconstructing these other more significant documents. You might check out Aleister's The Book of the Law and The Book of Lies. But in any case, you must have the right amplified energy consciousness to bring to it. The serpent is duality. Kundalini must be joined to what is hidden. This is what it is to be an initiate.